Hey everybody, welcome back to Restaurant Food Fast. I'm Chuck.
I'm Ward.
And we are finishing up our Eastern European.
Yes.
So we're going to do some Palacinka today, which are crepes basically. A lot of people have a fear of making crepes, and I'm going to show you don't need a crepe pan, you don't need a Palacinka maker, they're really easy. But before I do that, we want to get into some correspondence.
Yeah, we had an email from Miguel in the Philippines. Miguel is one of our, I guess, fans. He writes us a lot, and he had some questions.
A lot?
He writes us quite a bit.
Quite a bit?
More than anybody else. We don't have that many people that write us, and Miguel's one of them. And we look forward to answering anything that Miguel puts out. So he had some questions about Chuck's pan.
Yeah, he did. The direction where I said I'm doing this backwards just flew right over your head. But that's okay. I'll get the pan. Hold on.
Like it matters.
Okay, Miguel was talking about my pan being Teflon and heating it up without oil in it and giving off toxins. I'm not sure about the toxins part. I have heard that, but I will tell you one thing. I roached the pan. Miguel caught on to that quite rapidly. If you can get a shot of this, you can see down the bottom of this pan, it pulled the Teflon right off of it. Not a huge concern of mine. It was a very cheap pan. I still am going to use it, but he's very right. Teflon pans, if you ever notice when you get them, it will tell you do not use over high heat. Most pans do, because you can warp them. The Teflon will come off of it, and it kind of wastes the point of buying one. Luckily, this was an expensive one, and for what I use it for, I don't mind if it's starts pitting with the Teflon. As long as I don't get flakes in my food, I'm not going to worry about it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was a good pickup, Miguel. He noticed that I had the pan on there preheating for a while, and I didn't have any oil in it, and it roached the pan first time right off. So be careful when you're using Teflons. So that out of the way. Doneness. The hand method of testing protein doneness. It's basically to keep your hand loose and you touch from the ball of your thumb to the center of your hand. The springiness of the end of the ball of your thumb, that softness, is rare. And it's all the degrees all the way down to well done. If you feel the very palm of your hand, how stiff it is, that's what well done feels like. And it kind of works that way with everything. Certain steaks are easier to deal with, beef is, because it has a longer cooking time, but you can do the same thing with chickens, with fish. But the variance in between is much faster. So with a big slab of beef, you're going to have some time between here and here. Whereas with chicken, a chicken breast, you don't. Once it gets past rare, it goes really quickly to well done, and from there to overdone. So, kind of keep in mind the carryover cooking. But that's basically it. This is rare, that's well done, and anything in between. And like I say, once you do it for a while, you can feel it with your tongs. When I started, it was just that I always touch whatever I was cooking, just touch the meat and see what it feels like. But that's that one. Hopefully that answers your question there. And then chiffonade. Chiffonade is a real fancy way of, to me it's almost like a julienne, except you're using a thin product. So I don't happen to have any, usually it's done with herbs, leaves of some sort, leafy herbs. I'm going to use a piece of lunch meat because, bless you,
Thank you.
I'm going to use a piece of lunch meat because I don't happen to have any in the fridge today. But basically when you do a chiffonade, you take whatever product you have and you roll it up. So now you have the roll of whatever it is. And then all you do is cut what you would consider julienne, which is very, very thin slices. And there you have it. That would be a chiffonade of lunch meat. And you do that with greens, or herbs, basil, anything like that that you roll up, and that's what you end up with. And that's all a chiffonade is. It's really, really simple. But hopefully that explains the chiffonade.
All right, and I hope that answered your question, Miguel. If you have any more questions, feel free to shoot us the line back. Tell us that wasn't what you were talking about, or whatever.
Or yeah, explain it better if I was rambling, because once again, it's a nice day after drinking day of cooking. So,
and yeah,
move on to the crepes.
I didn't think you were doing crepes.
Palacinka. It's pronounced a variety of ways, spelled a variety of ways. That's always the way I've heard it. Crepes. Most European countries have their version of it. Spain has them. Italy, France has crepe. The Eastern Europeans, Poland, Hungary, they're called Palacinka or Palacinka, and it's basically the same thing as a crepe, except a little bit thinner batter. And I'll show you exactly how to do that, and show you that you don't need any special equipment to do it. I'm going to use a beat-up old Teflon pan that I have to show you how to cook these. Not the one I just showed you, but a different one. But this recipe is very simple. Let me grab the stuff and I'll show you. Okay, your basic ingredients for a crepe Palacinka batter are eggs, flour, and milk. That's it. Now you can adjust it if you want these for breakfast, or you want these for a dessert type meal. You can put in vanilla, you can put in whatever flavorings you want. You can put in cocoa powder, make them chocolate. If you're doing savory, you can add different spices to this, like garlic, onion, things of that nature. I'm going to make a very, very basic one. The way I started remembering this recipe, and there's a bunch of variations you'll find, but if you remember 2, 2, and 2. 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of milk, 2 eggs. Now there are recipes you're going to find that are going to have 2 tablespoons of butter in it. Just depends.
Now, how many, using your 2-2-2 method, how many people does that feed?
A bunch. It depends on how wide your crepes are.
So make 2 crepes?
It can. If you have a huge griddle, you can make 2 crepes. If you're making small crepes, then it's going to make a whole lot of them. Usually this recipe nets me somewhere around 18 crepes. It just depends how thick you make the batter. I'm going to free will it because I know the consistency I want, so I'm going to show you guys what I look for when I'm making a crepe batter. Start off with your eggs. Crack those into a bowl. And I get them kind of beat a little bit. I'm going to add some milk first. About that much. So right now you've got a basic egg wash, milk and eggs. Nothing spectacular. These are very, very easy recipes. And now I'm just going to hit it with some flour until I get what I want out of it. And I'll start with that, and we'll see where it goes.
Is this one of the recipes that you want to have lump-free, or do you actually want to have lumps in it like pancakes?
I want it lump-free. I want to make it nice and smooth. Okay, this to me is a little thick. So I want to add a little bit more milk. Now you can use cream. It's going to make them richer, much higher fat content, but it's not going to thin out as easily. That's better. That's the consistency I'm looking for. Let me get this stuff off the table. I'll grab a spoon and give you guys a better shot how thick it is.
Yeah, the old back of the spoon trick, huh?
Well, nappe is what they call it, where it coats the spoon. But that's, you see how it runs out? It's actually a very thin batter. But because the protein in the egg, it's gonna, you'll see when we cook it. That's the difference between crepes and some of the other ones. I know even Native American Indians have a form of this they cook with corn flour, and it's almost like water. They get a really big flat hot rock that they put over a fire, and once it's hot, all they do is kind of smear this corn batter over it, and it makes almost like parchment paper. But it's basically the same idea, same concept.
Is it kind of like a tortilla? Sort of?
This is super thin, super thin. It looks like parchment paper when they pull it off that rock. You can see through it. It crumbles, and they use it as a filler, a bread filler. They, just kind of wrap it up and eat it, just like these things. Okay, crank up pan.
Are you going to put anything in the pan?
No. All right, this, you shot of that. This is a beat Teflon pan. This is the pan that I cook with most of the time on this show. It is nicked, scratched, horrible on the bottom, but the crepes will come out of it. Guarantee it. You don't need to have a special pan for this. You can buy them, but unless you want to have it, you really don't need it. So let me get this fired up, put some butter in there, and we're good. All I do is get that pan warm, not warm, hot, and throw a little butter into it, and you're done.
But like you said, you can also add the butter to this and you wouldn't add it to?
No, I do both.
Okay.
Like one of the recipes I use sometimes is 2 tablespoons of melted butter in this batter. I just didn't do that today. All right, I am just oiling up this pan with a stick of butter. Not, of course, the whole stick. I'm just greasing it. Traditionally, you'll find a lot of chefs that will tell you that your first crepe generally doesn't come out well.
Just like pancakes.
Yeah, the first one usually, once your pan gets seasoned, it comes out. We'll see what happens here. Well, I think that's warm enough. Let's find out. You roll the pan and rotate the pan to thin out the batter. And then you just let it set. You let it cook.
You can put other stuff in this
When they're
at
done.
this point? Okay, you wait until they're done.
Yeah, it's not like an omelet where you add them. You'll see once this cooks, and I think the reason the first one doesn't come out is that the pan's really not hot enough. It's not ready. You generally, these cook lightning quick, so you generally do these very fast. Okay, see? That's it.
Now that curl that you get there, is that normal?
Yep. That's actually what the name comes from in Latin. The Spanish and the Italian and crepe comes from curl. Because when they're done, the edges tend to curl. That's how they got their name. But it may not be the most perfectly formed crepe, but it works fine. And you just keep doing that. Now you may want to add more butter. You see how your pan's smoking? A little more butter. And the thing that gets it temperature-wise done correctly is the fact that I'm holding it off the heat now. So as I put another batch in, now the pan has cooled down some.
Okay, so what you're saying is you don't want to leave the pan on the stove in between batches.
Right. You don't want to, it'll be way too hot. So when you're doing these, as you're moving, once you start doing production, you just start moving real quick. You're taking one, flipping it out, buttering it, putting a new one in, and back on the heat. And it kind of fluctuates that heat perfectly for you. I usually can tell when, if you can catch the center starts turning yellow, like it's cooked right now, that usually means it's done. See how it breaks free and slides? You're done. Edges are curling, it's doing exactly what you want.
Okay, now, you said that you can use different styles with this. Now, how would you serve this?
Let me give you a couple more here, and then we'll go into the fillings.
Okay.
I'll take just 3 or 4. I'll make one more, and then we'll do 4. And you can fill these with anything. One of the real nice ones is they'll make a salmon. It's not a puree. It's almost like a mousse. It's a seafood. You take a bechamel sauce, which you've done a ton of times on the show, which is a basic white sauce. Add seafood to it. Make it super thick. Put that inside the crepe and pour a little bit of the bechamel sauce over it, and there you got a nice dinner one. These are very light flavor. There's not a whole lot of flavor to it, so it works better with light tasting ingredients. So this is like the basic for a cheese blintz. You know,
Okay, so
see the edges are starting to pick up. The center's yellow. See how it's curling?
Well, I guess that goes back to my point before.
That was with no butter. That's why it didn't slip loose. But it's still.
But I guess that goes back to my point before. Now, if I wanted to make these like a cheese blend, wouldn't it be easier to put the cheese in now so that the cheese would melt?
Well, the cheese blintz you're talking about is
I know it's kind of like an omelet.
a dessert omelet or a dessert crepe. The cheese you're putting in is like Danish filling.
Okay.
So it's not. If you wanted to,
it's like a cream cheese.
Yes.
No, but I meant like a mozzarella cheese. Could you put a mozzarella cheese to this, or
you can?
You really don't want it.
Not in the pan.
Okay.
Once you get your pan seasoned for crepes or Palacinka or any of these things, you don't want to fuss with it. Because once you get to the point where it's turning them out, just leave it go. But like I say, this pan is roached. It's beat. But it's still, if you have it at the right temperature, it works.
So that goes back to you don't need a special crepe pan.
Great. See? Breaking free, you're good. And you're roached to flip. And that's pretty much it for that. That's how you cook them. And like I say, you don't need any special ingredients. Crepes aren't hard. Don't be afraid of them. You don't have to go get a crepe pan. You don't have to get a crepe pan. You just can use whatever you have. And I'm going to bring these up front, and we're back. All right. As far as filling goes for these, the sky's the limit. Put whatever you want in them.
A pony?
You could put a pony in if you like to eat ponies.
Pony.
There are 3 different ways I've seen these presented. One is really cool. You make about 30 of these, 40 of these, and you put chocolate in between them. And you make a tower. It's a cake made just of crepes, and you pour chocolate over the edges. Thing weighs about 18 pounds and is really, really good.
Give you a coronary almost instantly.
Yes, really, really good though. It tastes so good. Well, I'm going to do a real easy, one of Jeff's favorite ones. You take a basic, now if you can catch on the camera, I don't know if you can see from the back, I can see shadows through these. You can make them thinner or thicker. This is a traditional thickness. Take a little bit of sugar, and cinnamon. Now for this, let me get these out of the way so you can get a better shot here. For this one, I've seen most people present it just like this. Now you stack a couple of these up, it makes it look real pretty, so if you would take another one the same way, and you just set these up and you make your full circle again, and then you just take a little bit of powdered sugar, and maybe some fresh fruit, and all this is cinnamon and sugar, and it's really, really good. That's one way to present these. I'm going to get another plate. I'll put this one over here for Jeffrey. I'm going to bring back my cheese that I removed. And as far as snacking goes, these things are wonderful for it because it's pretty much whatever you feel like eating. These are a great vehicle to get that to your face. So if you just take a little bit of cheddar cheese, my favorite is Parmesan. Just take a little bit of Parmesan cheese and sprinkle it in the center. It's incredibly good. And take this, roll it up, and that's it. It's your typical crepe. Now, you can do this with, like I say, anything. You take a seafood bechamel, you do that, put some sauce over top, jelly. Do the same way. I'm going to put I'll do a jelly one. And you just, whatever your favorite jelly jam preserves are, take it, spread it out. Doesn't matter how much. I've seen people say, oh, you put a little bit, you put a lot, you put whatever you like. You're the one eating it, so you use as much or as little as you want. You leave go. I was getting 2 of them. There, that one is jelly. This one will do cream cheese, hazelnut cream cheese. So whipped, off. Okay, now when they do blintzes, they fill these up a little more. That'll work. Just checking the sweetness. They fold it over. They use a little more filling than you normally would. And now it's like a burrito. You tuck your edges in. And then you continue rolling it with your edges tucked. And there is what you would have traditionally as a blintz. Cover that with cherries, again, powdered sugar, whatever you want to top it with. But they're so simple to do. Great breakfast foods, great dinner foods. They store well. Storage is actually very simple. Let them cool down. Stack them up with a piece of parchment paper or wax paper in between. Throw them into a Ziploc bag. Put them in the freezer. Good to go. They'll sit there for 6 months without having an issue.
In the freezer or the fridge?
Freezer.
Okay. You really think they'd last for 6 months?
No, because you'd eat them, but they won't go bad. And then all you just take them off, separate it, throw them in the microwave. They heat right up, and just roll them up with whatever you want. You're good. I like these with leftovers because it can take a real. I mean, I've actually put chili in them. Chili's a little spicy for these because they're really light tasting. But if you're in the mood for chili and you need a vehicle for it, giddy up. But I have done. Colin, mutual friend of ours from Scotland, has a dish that he showed me, mince and tatties, which is basically ground meat, cut up potatoes, and gravy. And it gets nice and thick when it's cold. Those are incredibly good inside crepe. I've done those numerous times. And it makes something that's very, very basic look like it's, some high haute cuisine type stuff. But that's pretty much it for Palacinka or crepes, whatever you want to call them. They're really easy. Don't let it scare you. Just take basic simple batter, milk, flour, eggs. Mix it till it's a thin, much thinner than pancake batter. Get whatever non-stick pan you have, crank it up hot, put some oil in it, they'll cook out fine. And that's pretty much all I got there.
All right. So next month is going to be Viewers' Choice Month. We still have slots open for something that you guys would like to see us cook.
So far we have a ratatouille and an apple pie.
Yes. So we have 2 more shows.
2 more slots open.
So
If anybody out there has something they want either shown off, you have a recipe, like I say, you have a recipe you like, and you want everybody else to see it, well, not everybody else, you want our viewers to see it, give me the recipe. I'll cook it a couple times till I get it right, and then I'll show people how to do it, give you guys all the props. Or if you want something cooked that you're not sure about, let us know, and I'll do it on the show, and hopefully answer your questions.
So, and we've said it a million times, you can send us an email
Yes, you can.
at restaurantfoodfast@gmail.com.
Right, you can follow us on Twitter.
Restaurant_food. You can also leave notes on our Facebook page. We have a Friends of Restaurant Food Fast group on Facebook that you can drop us a line there. Of course, you can always leave comments on the website. However you guys want to get a hold of us.
Website's restaurantfoodfast.com. Yeah, Twitter is exploding.
Yeah, we have like 600 followers now.
Exploding. Just ridiculous.
And we are going to start writing stuff so that it gives you something.
I put my head down in shame.
We will.
I'm still not sure of the social media thing, and Ward, I got to give Ward all the credit. He sends me all the things on what I'm supposed to be doing. I still really don't. I get Twitter, but I don't get how I should use Twitter. I guess I don't feel like I have anything that I want to put out there that's interesting. You know what I mean? I don't want to bore people.
Here's another call for our viewers. If you have an idea of how you would like us to use Twitter, drop us a line. Apparently, sending it through Twitter might not be a good idea.
I get all the Twitters because Ward gets all the Twitters, and then he yells at me because I got to answer the Twitters if it's food related. So,
but yeah, the same vehicles. Either Twitter us with it or send it to our email, and we'll answer any questions and take any advice that we can get. We're still kind of new at this, and we've been changing. Quit making faces at the other camera.
I'm sorry.
We're still trying to get this new format down. Let us know what you think about the new format. Miguel seems to like it, so.
Yeah, he says the close-ups are better. He's actually able to see what we were doing. That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you like it, great. Let us know. If you don't and you have a different suggestion for us, let us know.
Sure, let us know. If you think it's just
Ducky.
Yeah, if you think it's not good, if you'd like to see more of something. Duck is good. I'll have to do a duck episode. A lot of people are afraid of duck too. No, good stuff. I'll show you how to do that. Press the chicken. Swedish chef. Bork, bork. Don't mess with Cabbage Man.
Now, Jim.
I have the power of cabbage.
Jim Henson is going to be suing us, or his family will be suing us for the Swedish Chef reference.
Swedish Chef was the best.
Yeah, Swedish Chef was the best. Please don't sue us. We don't make any money doing this. But until next week, I'm Ward.
I'm Chuck.
Restaurant Food Fast. We're out.